This is the bridge in Speightstown. It's collapsed, and it probably is a photo taken after the 1901 floods. In 1901, they had something like 15 inches up at Boscobel. This year, on the 12th of November, I think, they had something like 9 inches at Boscobel. So before, we didn't have the evapotranspiration stopped or curtailed by a large amount, but you had a lot of rain. So we're going to look a little bit at evapotranspiration and flooding and try and see what is the relation between the two. This video is going to deal with hydrogeologic cycle. We're going to look at the various fields which drain to the sea, and would be the case for any land anywhere drained into the sea. It was part of the hydrogeologic cycle. We had a lot of rain and water, and it was all disposed of by agriculture. So these fields, Upper Bignell, Lower Bignell, Woodpiece, Millfield, 6 Acre, Majorfield, all of these fields drained into the gully. The gully then connected to the sea, and the water would flow down the gully went to the sea. This is in cases of heavy rainfall, when there's runoff from the land. But in terms of light rainfall, constant, the water would percolate down through the fields to the oceanics. Now here's another gully here, right? You've got 9 Acre, Farm Field, Lower Nursery, Upper Nursery, Stable Field, sandy ground, Lower 10 Acre, Upper 10 Acre, and House Field. All of these would have drained through this gully out to the sea. Similarly, these fields here, and these fields, Upper Negro Yard, Lower Negro Yard, Lower John Cook, Upper John Cook, Plum Tree. Now this looks as though it is actually Mullins Plantation, and Mullins was acquired by Worley Plantation. We're going to look at the smaller fields, in other words, the house lots, which are dividing this land into smaller pieces of land which a householder can manage. You're talking about this being the fields here being pretty small compared with these fields, but here it has less water falling than here and here and here and here. So really and truly, it all makes sense. Okay, now what happens when you have these smaller fields is you have smaller fields and you have a roof on top of a large area of the field. All over you will find this happening. So what will happen is the amount of water produced by this section is now going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times as much as what was produced by the large field. And the large field had evapotranspiration. So the cane actually stopped the water going into the ground. We have a real problem. So the roofs of these lots end up not giving any evapotranspiration. So all of these lots here have a large area which is producing water and it's going into the ground. It ends up following the gullies and coming at the sea. Now, sometimes it will spread around among the ground, but what will happen is that we will end up with these gullies that are pretty high, and also we'll end up with the ground area which is pretty well saturated. In the past, when you were subdividing a plantation, what you did was you subdivide it into 4-acre lots. These are not any 4-acre lots. These are these are half-acre lots, or somewhere in that area. So you have a real problem with water. Okay, we have now all that extra water to get rid of, and that we are not going to be able to get into the gullies and into and underground to prevent flooding. So today, what you have is something called climate change. Now, this is, as far as I'm concerned, a hoax. The climate change that exists here is you've got so much water coming off of this land and trying to get to the gullies and down to the sea, that what we have decided is that the rain is falling now a different way to how it fell in the past, and producing a large amount of water for the drainage engineer to have to get rid of. And this is wrong. To summarize, you have, let's say, 100 gallons of water falling as rain on the area of land under question. 10 acres, 10 of those units of water go into runoff. 10 go into percolation. And 80% of the water goes to being taken up by the plants and given out to the atmosphere. So the planter in the past had 20% of water to deal with. 80% God dealt with. So the planter was that much better off than we are today. And we are making a mess of our land.